After training well over 1,000 women for 15 years, I realized something that completely changed the way I coach, the way I understand fitness, and honestly, the way I see women over 40 as a whole. And what I discovered and came to understand impacted me so much, I actually became a therapist because of it. And today I am going to share the 5 fitness lessons I couldn't ignore, the very lessons that led me to become a licensed mental health therapist, the lessons that finally made everything make sense, and the ones I wish every woman over 40 knew before ever blaming herself for struggling or feeling like she is failing. When I first started as a personal trainer and studio owner 15 years ago, I thought my job was to do this, to teach women how to live safely, build muscle, and get stronger. I thought I had to teach them how to eat better, how to stay focused, and how to motivate them and hold them accountable. But the longer I trained women, the more I saw that most of them knew what to do, but they just couldn't get them to do it themselves. All the accountability in the world was not the answer. I realized something much deeper was happening beneath the surface. And here's the wild part. These patterns were identical across thousands of women, regardless of age, background, income level, or experience. These women would come in so committed, so determined, so ready to finally get it right this time, and then they'd burn out in a few weeks, or feel overwhelmed halfway through a workout, or struggle with committing to their goals, or spiral emotionally after one small setback, and then sometimes disappear and fall in a hole when life got stressful, only to reemerge weeks later to start over yet again. And they all blame themselves. Every single one. But here's the truth I could not ignore. The story these women were telling themselves did not match what I saw with my own eyes. They were not struggling with fitness. They were struggling with what was happening underneath fitness. They were struggling with what I can now label as a mental health therapist. They were struggling with either a combination of overwhelm, anxiety, depression, unresolved grief, undiagnosed ADHD, disordered eating, binge eating, emotional shutdown, or addiction, often to the wine culture that tells women it is their coping mechanism. Some were navigating deeply unsatisfying or abusive marriages. Some were people pleasers drowning in guilt for being selfish. Some were carrying CPTSD patterns they didn't even know or have words for. It finally clicked one day while working with a client who had failed dozens of programs. But she hadn't failed because she was lazy. She failed because her nervous system never felt safe enough to support consistency, and her coping mechanisms did not foster resilience. She lived an entire life in maladaptive patterns of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Her posture showed it. Her breathing showed it. Her tension patterns showed it. Her body wasn't resisting fitness. Her body was protecting her. I saw it everywhere after a while, in perfectionists, in women struggling with addiction, in women who grew up in chaos, in women carrying the weight of everyone else's needs, in women stuck in marriages that broke their spirit, in women who survived trauma, sometimes decades earlier. The truth was undeniable. Their nervous systems weren't weak. They were adapted for survival, and surviving feels very different in the body than thriving. And yes, a small minority of women could execute nutrition plans, macros, progressive overload, sleep schedules, posture work, all of the things. But they were the minority. Most women had to deal with what was underneath, the root cause, before they could even attempt consistency with fitness or nutrition. One day I was coaching a client through a simple reverse lunge. The weight wasn't heavy, her form was fine, but suddenly she froze and burst into tears. Not because it hurt, but because she said, "I'm never going to be as strong as these other women here." In that moment, it hit me. I wasn't training just muscles or strength. I was training women who carried deeply embedded false narratives like, I'm not good enough, I'm too much, I fail at everything, something is wrong with me. I was training nervous systems. I was training trauma histories. I was training 40 plus years of survival patterns. None of these narratives were true, but the body believed those narratives, and no amount of perfect programming could override a dysregulated nervous system. That moment led me to the decision that changed everything. I went back to graduate school in my mid-40s and became a licensed mental health therapist. I am now 52 years old, not because I wanted a new career, but because I couldn't ethically pretend that fitness existed separately in this silo from mental health. When you see the same patterns in thousands of women, you can't unsee it. I wanted to truly help women heal from the inside out, to help the women who feel broken when they're not, to help them understand why consistency collapses during stress, and how emotional stress creates physical injuries, and why dieting feels like punishment, or why they would lose 20 pounds only to gain it right back. I have my own share of my own struggles throughout life, and mine didn't always look like theirs, but they came from the same roots: stress, survival, and a body trying to protect me the best way it knew how. Fitness wasn't failing women, and they weren't failing at fitness. Their bodies were overwhelmed, their stories were heavy, their nervous systems were exhausted, and while the fitness industry means well, it doesn't always connect those dots in a way that is nuanced enough for each individual. Here are the 5 fitness lessons I could not ignore. Lesson 1, consistency is rooted in knowing how to manage your nervous system. Women don't quit fitness because they're lazy. They don't quit because they haven't made it a priority. And I always hated this phrase too. If they really wanted it, they would do it and make it a priority. No, they quit because they're overwhelmed, which can lead to dysregulation, which causes a cascade of reactions that spiral. It's not about discipline in the beginning. It's how to regulate. You can't out-discipline dysregulation. Lesson 2, you can't out-train dysregulation. If you are living in survival mode, your body will not prioritize building muscle or losing fat or recovery. Safety always comes first. If you are dysregulated, you will always feel like you are trying to get it together, and you will feel like you are failing. Eventually, overwhelm will become all-encompassing, and you'll beat yourself up for quote-unquote failing. Lesson 3, form is emotional safety. Proper biomechanics, which is basically the science of how your body moves, isn't about perfection. It's about getting in touch with your body for the first time. It's about teaching your mind to connect to your body and muscles. This signals then that you are safe to move, you are supported, you are stable, you are grounded, especially for women with trauma or chronic stress or prior fitness injuries. When women understand this and experience it in their body, they feel a sense of calm and clarity. They recognize that shift out of fight or flight. Lesson 4, eating at maintenance is often the first step. Women over 40 are chronically undereating or overworking, or they are overeating the wrong things and undereating the right things because a dysregulated nervous system makes you want fat and carbs. Fat loss doesn't happen until the body feels secure. Maintenance calories are not the end. They are the beginning of healing and a place to restore first before going into a deficit. Deficits require a certain skill that go way beyond discipline or motivation. I'll talk about that more in a later video. Lesson 5, strength training builds identity, not just muscle. When a woman lifts her first weight with true stability, when her rib cage, pelvis, core, and breath finally work together and she feels all of her muscles firing, when she gets her first real hip thrust or deadlift, something in her changes. She stops seeing herself as someone who fails. She starts seeing herself as someone who can do hard things. If you've been stuck, inconsistent, or frustrated, take a breath and exhale with me for a moment, because you don't need more motivation and you don't need more discipline or accountability. You don't need to try harder. What you need are these 5 things to succeed. Number 1, a way to recognize a dysregulated nervous system and ways to regulate it. Number 2, a biomechanics first foundation. Number 3, strength training that builds stability both physically and emotionally. Number 4, a program that respects female physiology and hormone balance. And number 5, a trauma-informed lens explaining why you shut down and real effective tools to help and handle it. When the body feels safe, it becomes responsive. When the mind feels supported, it becomes consistent. And when you build strength slowly and intentionally, your entire identity starts to shift. 15 years of training women taught me all of this. Women over 40 are not broken. They are just overloaded. And they deserve fitness that honors everything their bodies have survived. And if you ever need a reminder that nothing is wrong with you, please come back to this video, save it, rewatch it, let it be proof that you were never the problem. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt like fitness was too hard or not meant for you, you are exactly who I make these videos for. I would love to hear your comments in the comments section below. Please subscribe and share with a friend who may need to hear this. And let's rebuild strength, your safety, and your self-trust together. Thank you for being here. Your story matters, your body is capable, and your healing is welcome in this space.